Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama. Welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation, and our podcast.
In today's podcast, we are covering the TMNT 2003 movie, Turtles Forever!
Yes! Now, this TV movie serves as not only the series finale to the 2003 series, with this version meeting the 80s counterparts to Stop the Shredder, it also serves as the conclusion of our superhero month this year.
Yes!
Now, he somehow returned one last time
Because he
to
keeps
destroy the turtles once and for all again.
Again!
By destroying all the turtles in the multiverse. Yes, this is the intro into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry. This is the into the Turtleverse.
Yeah.
The inspiration for the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Even if they never admit it.
Yeah. But before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, notifications for future podcasts, and want to pause videos.
Thank you for joining us today. Subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, joining us for Superhero Month. As always, we appreciate everything you do, our special.
Yes. So as a refresher, in case you haven't seen our previous podcast, we got the entire 2003 collection of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, which include Turtles Forever. So we decided we wanted to cover this movie again because it had been years since we've seen it, along with the entire series and the lost season.
Which is Rascal's favorite version.
Yes. And we really wanted to cover this again, too, because we had the resurgence of Turtles thanks to Mutant Mayhem, but also this movie ends up being sort of controversial with Turtles fans, because every time someone covers this movie online, we always hear the same thing. It was a garbage movie because they made fun of the 80s Turtles. They flanderized them to being jokes and imbeciles to hype up 2003, and it was a crappy crossover. And we decided, okay, maybe we should rewatch it again. Are we missing something?
And I was hoping nostalgia wasn't clouding my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It wasn't.
No.
I enjoyed it even more than I did the first time I saw it. And I'm sorry, guys. Whomever says it's crap because of the 84 Turtles didn't watch the 84 Turtles and didn't understand the 84 Turtles because they always had fun and were silly cowabunga.
Yes.
But when the job needed to be done and they needed to be superheroes and save the day, they did it and they listened to their papa.
Yes.
So you're wrong.
Yes. And
let me know what you think in the comments.
Yes. And when we heard this, that, well, they were more serious in the comics, well, they technically do have the comic Turtles.
Yes.
But when we were getting research for the show, we saw someone said they got really serious in the last couple seasons of the 80s show. So they went from being silly to serious like the comics.
So they had character growth.
Yes, towards the end. And it seemed like for the ones who were not happy, wanted them to act like the serious versions at the end and have 03 act serious and have Turtle Prime be serious. And everyone's serious.
And
so then that means they didn't get like that till later, so they went for the versions that were still the early ones. That's it.
So that there will be a difference between each of the Turtles.
Yes.
And it worked well. I personally wish they had more versions of the Turtles in this movie.
Right.
And I can just hope that maybe one day they'll make another one.
Yes.
So for those of you not familiar with this, Turtles Forever is a 2009 animated superhero movie that is a crossover between two different incarnations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as well as the original comic book version of the Turtles.
Yes.
And it follows the plot of the 2003 animated TV series as they team up with the 1987 TV Turtles.
Yes.
And you had two versions of Shredder in here, one Shredder too much. And as we mentioned, it was the finale of the series. You had a lot of good music in here. Mm-hmm. There were actually 14 composers for this movie.
Wow. Especially when they were making the music for not just 03, but you had them recreating the ones for the 80s ones and made a new soundtrack for the original comic version.
Yes, and we wish you could have had the original voice actors for the 87 Turtles, but weren't able to.
Yes.
This was written by Rob David, Matthew Dreck, and Lloyd Goldfine, directed by Roy Birding and Lloyd Goldfine.
Yes.
So, to me, this is one of the best Turtle movies that are being out. It has a running time of 81 minutes, uncut, and 73 minutes edited on TV.
Yes, and we did see both the original and the edit version.
Yes.
And we will say, without being really a spoiler, in the edited version, they cut out an extra segment when the movie ends and they transition to live action, like going go back in time to when they were first putting out the Turtles comics. It was supposed to be a sort of tribute to the franchise for the, at the time, anniversary of the entire thing.
Now, you had mentioned that for this movie, it seemed like it was 4 segments or 4 episodes that they put together made into one movie because of the way that it would end in certain parts of the movie.
I think so, because we have also the movie on its own on DVD, and we don't have that fade to black the whole time. And again, the parts that were edited out of the movie were in there. And another thing was also edited out that they show online. There were more interactions with the Turtles that were left out. And perhaps it might be why people perceive the 80s Turtles as being written incompetently, because they had more interactions where, you know, especially with 80s down until 2003, the way he was describing how to fix it made it look like it was backwards and he didn't know what science was. But there were scenes in there where he would see he had his own way of genius in his own universe, and the stuff would work. He said, I know we may seem like goofballs, but we know how to get the job done. And they would have more growth throughout the movie. So these parts were edited out of certain versions, so that might be part of why people thought they were being played as jokes, and they cut out the parts where they're showing you they can be more than just comic relief.
True. Movie starts off kind of unassumingly, like it's going to be like any other episode of the series. And then they get called in to save someone or stop a crime. And then suddenly they get there and these 4 turtles hanging up. And I'm like, this is
what?
This is a kid's movie. And they're hanging there like, who are you? No, who are you? They look like us.
Oh boy.
That's when the movie truly begins. It's just kind of like a regular thing up until that point. And then they have on the belt buckles like they had in the 80s.
Oh, and they kept making fun of that. Yes. Look at the cool belt buckles.
You have the villain who's like, you know what? I got one set of turtles already. Get rid of them.
Yes. And that kept being a running joke in here.
And he wasn't fazed that there was a second set of turtles.
He just asked, who are these? No, get rid of it. It's like, you know, I guess he's seen so much crap that it didn't even bother him. and it's so funny. It's kind of like how Mama says she just kind of accepts everything that the show throws at you. And I guess Han got that way too eventually. And as it goes, you do get the third set of turtles, but for the most part, you do see 03 and 87, and for us it was absolutely hilarious. And I think the in joke was that they're all different, but they were still turtles, and they were getting a little annoyed at 87 because they would say party on and stuff a little more than usual. Even point Mikey was getting tired of it. But when they got to towards the end and they saw Turtle Prime, as they call it, and how dark and grim they were, you thought O3 would get along with them, and no, the comic turtles like the 80s turtles more. I like the cool belt buckles. Yeah, you would.
And they were like, they're gone. I'm getting used to them. I loved how they had them all ending up liking each other.
Yes.
I'm glad that they didn't have it like, oh, well, I'm better than you, and I'm better than you. And I love how they ended up at the end saying they were all brothers.
Yes.
That just worked really well. And I think it was kind of like a nod to the fans, like, to me, this is the message. Regardless of which turtle version you like, they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
Regardless of which one you like, they all got their start with this version of the turtles.
Yes.
So love the one you love, but appreciate them all.
Yeah.
And that is the way I took the movie originally when we first saw it.
Yes.
I was so excited. What I really wanted was to see when they had the Spider-Verse or Turtleverse, as you said, going on behind them.
Yes.
That you're probably seeing right now. I wanted to see some of them appear. Actually, I want to see them all appear.
Yeah.
Just in one shot where they
the
all
comics
showed
and
up.
everything.
That's what I wanted.
Yes, that one fantastic. Even live action we would like to shown up. And
it was fantastic how they were the birth of the Spider-Verse. You see all these screens and the versions that are showing up. And as you said, they were interacting with them through the screens, but they weren't coming out into the real world.
Right.
And it was fantastic because all you kept saying is Spider-Verse, Spider-Verse,
yes,
Spider-Verse.
And I still think when we were watching it, they have two of the movie plots in here. First one is getting the 80s turtles back to their dimension, and that's what the first movie was about. They had the second one, which was about rectifying a wrong. They think Miles was the wrong Spider-Man, and in here they said, well, they think they got the wrong turtles. And the idea was to grab all of them together, and just like here, he showed all the turtles that were out at the time. Spider-Verse showed all the spider people in one place. And I think the third one's gonna be this plot line where Shredder wanted to kill off the very first Turtles one, because they showed when he was killing them, they were all getting wiped out, like it was literally being erased.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And so I think that's what's gonna happen for the third Spider-Verse movie. That's my theory, that they're gonna try to find the first Spider-Man and wipe him out and just erase all the Spider-Man.
And you've called the last two, so I'm gonna guess that you're right on this. Now, two things. One, for those of you that are purists and want an 87 to be the same, I read that this 87 version was an alternate version. So they weren't the 1987 version. They were an alternate version of the 1987 Turtles. So if you're not happy with the way they act and behave, that's because they aren't the 87 Turtles. They're another version.
Right.
And the second thing is, as you were saying, how they were being erased and wiped out. When this movie came out, was it 2000?
Ooh, 2006 or 7, because the movie ended. I mean, the series
2009.
ended.
I'm sorry,
2009.
Yeah. Earlier. When this movie came out in 2009, this wasn't a trope. You weren't having characters being wiped out and erased from existence. This movie, as well as this series, is the start of a lot of things that we take for granted now that we see in Western animation and in some anime. And if you haven't listened to our other two podcasts, one on season 5, the Ninja Tribunal arc, and the full 2003 series, which is our longest podcast ever, be sure to go and listen to them after this, because there's so much more that we share with you. But we do want to say, this was not a trope then. They were doing something different with this movie. The Turtleverse, having different versions appear, wiping out from existence everything, which happens now all the time and is special, having different versions of different characters show up at the same time, and not claiming that, because two versions show up at the same time, they'll both die, or it can't happen. They were the first ones to not go that trope and have everyone exist at the same time. And they were the first to make this type of movie that wrapped up a series with a high, intense energy, all stakes finale. Because it was 2003. Even though I watched the 87, I had never seen 2003, 2012. Don't ask me about it. I got really good toward the end, haven't seen season 2. Going through all those, 2003 is the GOAT. It is the GOAT for so many other shows that came after. Listen to our 2003 coverage and tell us what you think.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're asking, is there anything you didn't like about the movie? One thing, really, and it's just a little nitpick.
I told you what mine was, that they all didn't appear. Every version didn't appear at the same time.
Okay, 2 nitpicks then. There was a point in the movie where it was a little slow when 80 Shredder was getting back the 03 Utrom Shredder. And part was because, we've seen like 50 different versions of Shredder in here, and they had that big colossal battle in Tribunal and everything. We were just kind of tired of Shredder, really, altogether. But that was the slowest part of the movie, was him and 80s Krang trying to get Utrom Shredder awake, and because he wanted to join forces with him to defeat both sets of turtles. And Utrom Shredder said, screw you, you are pathetic. I'm just going to do it myself. And it was funny a little bit, but it was the slowest part of the movie. You were kind of waiting for it to be done. It felt like they were trying to drag it out for the time allotted, because it felt like there wasn't a lot going on during that segment. True. But that's really it.
True. So let's give a quick shout out to the voice cast. Michael Sinterklaas is Leonardo of the 2003 Turtles. Sam Riegel is Donatello, 2003. Greg Abbey is Raphael, 2003. Wayne Grayson is Michelangelo, 2003. Darren Dunstan as Splinter, 2003. We had Anthony Hayden Salerno as 87 Donatello, and again, an alternate version of that Donnie. Sebastian Archelaus as 87 Raphael. Russell Velasquez as 87 Michelangelo, as well as Rocksteady. Dan Green is 87 Leonardo. Scotty Ray as Shrell, and the Outram Shredder of the 2003 Foot Clan. Karen Neal as Karai, Outram Shredder's daughter and 2003 Foot Clan second in command. Greg Carey as Hun. Veronica Taylor, yes, as April O'Neil.
Yes.
Mark Thompson as Casey Jones. Lloyd Williams as Oroku Saki. And we have to say in this version, they're married. April and Casey.
Yeah, for you know.
Yes. Bradford Scobie as Crane, 84 Michelangelo and Bebop from 87. Jason Griffith as 84 Leonardo, alternate version from 84.
Yes, which is, if you know, it's Sonic, hilariously.
Christopher C. Adams as 84 Donatello, and again, an alternate version. Sean Schimmel, yes, Sean Schimmel. Lego Monkey Kid. Well, not Lego Monkey Kid.
Yes, yes, and Dragon Ball, yes.
Well, he's the monkey king.
Yes, yes, both.
As 84 Raphael, alternate version. David Willis as 84 Shredder and 87 Splinter.
Oh, wow.
Rebecca Solar as 87 April. And Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman make voiceover cameos as
Yes, that was one of the best parts ever.
So this movie is one of the best ever animated movies. Again, before a lot of these things have become tropey and we see them all the time, this was the start. They were trendsetters.
Yes.
They were pop culture icons. This movie is your introduction to so many other shows. And again, watch our podcast on the entire 2003 series to hear what shows with distinctive proof got their inspiration or directly just lifted from this series and made their series.
Yes.
And no hate, no anger, because those shows themselves are fantastic, but it's awesome to give credit where credit is due to the inspiration behind it.
Yes.
So if you've seen Turtles Forever, let us know in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was meh? Do you agree with critics who gave it a 5 out of 10? Shame on you poo-poo critics. And if you haven't seen it because you're hesitating, don't. Go ahead and watch it. It is fun. It was inspiring to many other series, as we mentioned. And come back and tell us what you think.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates to the anime series, anime shows, all things animation, and the conclusion to Superhero Month.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us for this final podcast for this month. We appreciate you joining us, giving your comments, and sharing our videos. It helps out our channel so much. Next year, of course, we're going to have more exciting content for Superhero Month.
Yes.
Thank you, Rascal, for creating this for us years ago. It's fun every year.
You're welcome.
And as always, you guys,
you are specials.
And our superheroes.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching, Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toon-tastic day.
Peace. Cowabunga!
Oh, I sure hope this thing sells.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it